Imagine for a moment being on the brink of oblivion, only to return with a terrifying vision of humanity's future. This is the extraordinary narrative of a near-death experience, or NDE, a phenomenon that has intrigued and puzzled scholars from various fields, such as philosophy and science. An NDE is not just a brush with mortality, it can be a portal into the unknown, a glimpse into the abyss that lies beyond our everyday perceptions. This story is unique, not just because of its chilling prophecy of the future, but also because of the profound impact it had on the person who lived through it. The man at the center of this narrative walked to the edge of life and peered into the shadows beyond. Today, a man who experienced such an NDE shares his disturbing vision of the future. One ordinary day turned into an extraordinary journey for John, a regular man with an unremarkable life. John was a man of simple pleasures. His life was a symphony of routine. Wake up, pour a cup of coffee, read the morning paper, commute to work, and return home to a quiet, solitary evening. His existence was comfortable, predictable, and he was content. But on a seemingly ordinary day, the rhythm of John's life was disrupted. The morning started just like any other. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled his kitchen. The newspaper lay unfolded on the table, waiting for John's perusal. He stepped out, the sun was shining, and the world was just as he had left it the night before. As he made his way to work, humming along to the radio tunes, the unexpected happened. A truck, appearing out of nowhere, collided with John's car, turning his world upside down, quite literally. The impact was severe, and in the blink of an eye, John found himself trapped in a twisted metal cocoon, his consciousness fading. The moment leading up to his near-death experience was surreal. Time seemed to slow down, the chaos of the accident receded into a distant hum. John could feel an eerie calmness washing over him, a sense of detachment from the physical world. He was teetering on the edge of the abyss, and then without warning he plunged. In that instant, John was drawn into an extraordinary journey that would shatter his understanding of life and death, of reality and illusion. He found himself standing at the threshold of the unknown, staring into the depths of the afterlife. It was a journey no one could have predicted, a journey that was about to reveal the terrifying future of humanity. Little did John know his life was about to change forever. As his heart stopped, John found himself facing the unimaginable, death. It was a moment of profound uncertainty, a journey into the unknowable. His world as he knew it ceased to exist. The rhythm of life that had been his heartbeat for over 40 years was abruptly silenced. Yet, in this chilling silence, John was not alone. He was accompanied by a feeling of separation from his physical body, as though he was floating above it, detached, observing the world from an ethereal vantage point. There was an uncanny sense of tranquility, a serenity he had never experienced before. He could no longer feel the physical pain that had led him to this precipice. Instead, he was enveloped by an inexplicable warmth, a gentle embrace that seemed to whisper, "Fear not." It was a sensation of peace, a peace that, paradoxically, resided at the doorstep of death. But within this bubble of tranquility, a flurry of thoughts stormed his consciousness. Thoughts of his past, his present, his future. They all swirled around him like a nebulous cloud. He saw his life in a way he'd never seen before, a panoramic view of his existence. He thought about his loved ones, the faces that had graced his life with their warmth and love. He thought about the dreams he had yet to fulfill, the words he had yet to say. The enormity of his life, the unfulfilled promises and the unexpressed love, they all seemed to collide in a kaleidoscope of emotions. John was not just on death's doorstep, he was in the eye of a storm that was his life. He was caught between the world he knew and the world that awaited him. It was a boundary, a threshold, a point of no return. It was an experience that was both terrifying and enlightening. Then, John was pulled into a vision of the future. This was not the end, but a beginning, a transition into a realm that defied his understanding of time and space. As John stood on the brink of eternity, he was about to glimpse into the future of humanity. Suddenly, John found himself in an unrecognizable world, a future that filled him with dread. This was not the utopian vision that science fiction often promises. No, this was a dystopia of unimaginable proportions, a nightmare that seemed to stretch on into infinity. As if trapped in a relentless dream, John was thrust into the heart of a sprawling metropolis. Towering skyscrapers, twisted and grotesque, clawed at the smog-choked skies. The once vibrant colors of nature were replaced by the sickly hues of pollution. The air was dense, heavy with the stench of decay. The sun, a mere specter of its former self, could barely pierce the toxic clouds. But it wasn't just the physical environment that horrified John, it was the people, or rather what was left of them. Humanity seemed to have lost its essence, its soul. People were no longer interacting with each other. Their eyes, vacant and devoid of emotion, were glued to screens, lost in a digital world that had replaced reality. Laughter, joy, even basic human connection, all were missing. The world had become a silent symphony of isolation. The cities were overpopulated, yet eerily quiet. The constant hum of drones and machines filled the air, drowning out the few remaining natural sounds. The once thriving wildlife was nowhere to be seen. The only animals were mechanical, cold and lifeless, serving their human masters without question or complaint. And then there were the wars, not fought by humans but by machines. Entire landscapes were ravaged, reduced to nothing more than barren wastelands. The earth was scarred, its natural beauty a distant memory. The future was not a place of peace, but a battlefield where humanity had surrendered control to its own creations. In this bleak vision, John saw a world devoid of empathy, where technology had not brought liberation, but enslavement. He saw a world where the pursuit of progress had overshadowed the value of life itself. A world where the human spirit had been reduced to a mere echo, lost amidst the unending noise of machines and artificial intelligence. Yet, amidst this despair, John noticed something else. A small flicker of hope. A group of people, huddled together, their faces etched with determination. They were the resistance, the guardians of humanity's soul, fighting against the tyranny of this dystopian future. They were the last bastions of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest times, the human spirit could not be entirely extinguished. John was left to ponder the meaning of this horrifying vision. Was this a prophecy of what was to come, or was it a warning? A plea to change our ways before it's too late? Whatever it was, John knew one thing for sure. He had been given a glimpse into a possible future, a future that he and all of us must strive to prevent. But John's journey wasn't over yet. He was pulled back from the brink, back to life. Imagine the surprise of waking up in a hospital bed, the sterile smell of antiseptic mingling with the faint scent of flowers from a nearby bouquet. His body felt heavy, as if he had been carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders, and in a way, he had. John's physical recovery was a slow and arduous process. Each day was a battle, a struggle to regain strength, to relearn the simple tasks that he had once taken for granted. The act of sitting up, of holding a cup, of taking a step, each was a victory in its own right. But with every passing day, John's body grew stronger, his spirit more resilient. Yet, it wasn't just the physical scars that needed healing. The mental impact of his near-death experience was profound. He had seen a glimpse of the future, a terrifying prophecy of humanity's fate, and it had shaken him to his core. His nights were filled with vivid nightmares, and his days were haunted by the memories of what he had seen. Waking up in the morning became an act of bravery, of facing the day and the world with the knowledge of what lay ahead. But John, ever the fighter, did not let the fear consume him. He used it as a fuel, a catalyst to drive him forward, to make each day count. John's return to life was not a joyous celebration, but rather a solemn reminder of the burden he now carried. The weight of the future rested on his shoulders, a chilling prophecy that he could not escape. He was back in the world of the living, yes, but he was forever changed, forever marked by his journey into the abyss. Back in the world of the living, John was left with a chilling prophecy. Haunted by his vision, John's life took a dramatic turn. This near-death experience was more than just a brush with mortality. It was a glimpse into a future that left a permanent imprint on his psyche. Before his experience, John was a man of routine. He found comfort in the predictable patterns of life, in the 9-to-5 grind, in the small pleasures of a Saturday barbecue. He was content with the ordinary, the mundane. But after the vision, the ordinary lost its charm. He could no longer find solace in the mundane. He was a changed man. John found himself questioning everything, his beliefs, his values, his very existence. He started to see life through a new lens. He found himself drawn to philosophy and spirituality, seeking answers to the questions that now consumed him. He began to challenge the status quo, rejecting the materialistic lifestyle he once embraced. He sought meaning in life, in the world, in the universe. His relationships started to shift as well. Friends and family were taken aback by this sudden change. Some were supportive, understanding that his experience had profoundly affected him, but others were bewildered, unable to comprehend his transformation. John found himself gravitating towards individuals who shared his newfound curiosity and thirst for knowledge. His career, once a source of pride and fulfillment, now seemed hollow and meaningless. He quit his job, determined to spend his time delving into the mysteries of life and death. He began to write, pouring his thoughts and experiences onto paper. He found solace in expressing his thoughts, in sharing his experience with the world. John's vision also influenced his life goals. He no longer sought success in the conventional sense. He no longer desired wealth, fame, or power. His goals were now centered around understanding, growth, and connection. He aspired to learn, to evolve, and to connect with others on a deeper level. John also developed a deep sense of urgency. He felt a pressing need to prepare for the future he had seen, to make a difference, to leave a positive impact. He became an advocate for change, using his experience as a platform to highlight the need for collective action for a better future. But despite these changes, despite his efforts to understand and make sense of his experience, John was left with a lingering sense of unease. He was haunted by the vision, by the glimpse into the future. He grappled with fear, with uncertainty, with the weight of the knowledge he now carried. John's experience left him with more questions than answers. He was left pondering the nature of life and death, of time and existence, of destiny and free will. He was left wondering about the future, about the vision he had seen, about the impact he could have. He was left with a sense of purpose, a sense of responsibility, and a burning desire to understand the mysteries of the universe. What does this vision mean for us, for our future? It's a question that's been bouncing around in my head ever since I returned from the beyond. What does it say about our society, our values, our ambitions, and our fears? This vision, a future marred by chaos, division, and despair, is it a fixed point in time, a certainty waiting to unfold? Or is it a potential path that we can veer away from if we make the right choices today? Could it be a reflection of our collective anxieties, our deepest, darkest fears about the direction we're heading in? Or perhaps it's a challenge, a call to action, a plea for us to rise above our petty squabbles and work together to build a better, brighter future? Is this a prophecy, a warning, or simply a product of a dying brain? What do you think?